entire story without anybody telling them. And when they came to school, they were expecting them to just sit and listen to you tell them stories. And expecting you to tell them back. They switch off here. Their eyes are open. The switch that goes here is already off. As soon as they ring the bell, the switch is activated. Hey, freedom at last. Isn't that so? Yes, sir. So, what can we do? Should it be the student that should come and meet us where we are? Or are we the ones to go and meet them where they are? We are the ones to do what? To go and meet them. They are not the ones to come and meet us. You know what? If they have to come and meet us, then it means they have to walk backwards. Okay? Yes. They have to walk backwards to meet us. But if we have to go and meet them, we have to do what? Walk forward. Do you get that knowledge? Yes. They walk backwards to meet us. But we walk forward to what? To meet them. Walk ahead of them. Or even ahead of them. Because as teachers, our job is to hold their hand and show them the way. And if we are the ones showing us the way, serious problem, isn't it? Beautiful. There are many ways we can engage our learners. Many ways we can make them learn that world which they are going into. The world that we ourselves do not know. Our parents didn't know the world we are going to meet. That is why, is there anybody here whose parent is alive? Put up your hand. My mother is alive, yes. No woman can last very long. And she keeps saying that this world has spoiled. In fact, she was saying that when I was a child. And she's still saying it now. And one day I asked her, I have children, and I tell my children that the world has spoiled. Which means the children will also tell their children that the world has spoiled. Is it true that the world has spoiled? Yes. It's not. The world has simply changed. Yes, it has simply changed. Because the things they did and valued, we didn't value them. The things we value, our children don't value them. But the world will not come to an end, not very soon, until Jesus comes back. Is it not so? Yes. Very good. So, we're going to look at these 5 approaches very quickly. The materials we are going to use to look at these approaches are there on that platform. So, as we are discussing them, you will be making reference to them. I have lesson plans that you can adapt. I also have some reading materials. We'll look at them together and then try to shape our thinking about flipped classroom, project-based learning, inquiry-based learning, gamification, and collaborative learning. Question? What's your name? David. Very good. Did you know I was coming to facilitate this workshop? You are not aware. Did you, even when you said you were going to do innovative teaching, did you have an idea of what will be contained inside? Very good. Now, question is, if last week I gave you all this material that I'm going to use today, gave you the code to log into this classroom, and then we came today to use them, what would have been your experience? Would it have been more difficult or easier? Would it have been more difficult or easier? Easier. Would it have been more difficult or easier? Easier. You would have done what? busy and noisy. I like that. I like noise. So, that is the idea of a flipped classroom. We believe in a traditional mode of teaching, that it is on the day the student comes to class, during that lesson, that we will reveal what we have to the student. In fact, as much as possible, we don't even want students to see our lesson plan. We hide it. That is why some of you, how many of you teach in this school? Aha, you. I remember that day you were chasing students away from entering the classroom, the staff room. 3 of us. So, we try as much as possible to hide what we are going to teach from the students until that day of revelation. Do you notice the kind of confusion that is usually on the faces of the student who introduce the topic? You experience it? Until maybe like 10, 20, 30 minutes into the lesson before you begin to see that adjustment. How many of you teach double lessons? Double lesson, put up your hand in it. Double lesson is how many minutes? At what time do you start getting tired? After the first 40 minutes. In fact, some even after the first 20 minutes. In a double lesson, theoretically it's supposed to be theory and practical. How many of you, in 80 minutes, you have been able to cover theory and then do practical? Let me see you.
Just facts.
Facts. Well, 2. What subject do you teach?
Some of us are not practical.
Computer science. Yeah, well, yeah. Okay, what do you teach?
Agri science.
Agri. You too.
Technical drawing.
Technical drawing. Theory, then you teach the practice.
Yes.
Effectively, 80 minutes.
Just part. Not all the topic. Just part of the topic.
Suppose you recorded a video of yourself explaining the concept. That thing you would have stood in class and done, like this talking and doing it now. Suppose I recorded myself talking and then send it for the students to watch and listen and make notes. And when we come to class, it is question time and practice. How will that work?
Very good.
Do not work out. It's weird. Yeah, can you explain why it do not work out well? What's the name? Mary, yes. Why? Can you explain why it do not work out well?
When you, if I am going to teach, and I stand after teaching, record myself, and then go send it to the students. I am not there for them to ask questions. I am not there for them, to call them and say, this is not how you should do. That I'm not there for them to manage the class. Some will be very attractive. They want to listen, they want to learn. But some, maybe they have not even gone through this gadgets before. So it will not be meaningful to them. It will be useless to them.
I like that. How many of you agree with her? 1, she's not there with them for them to ask questions. 2, she's not there to control what they are doing. 3, some of them may not be familiar with the gadgets. How many of you are on the same page with that? Yeah.
In addition
In
addition to
your
what
name
you say,
first.
my name is Omila
Very
of Bonnet Bread.
good. Yeah.
After they have, when you send the message to them, and you call later to explain, they are not, the learning, one, the learning have already taken place. Yes, and so you're coming to explain the common tautology.
I like that. So, sending it to learn and coming to explain is tautology. Is there any learning that is too much? Is there anything like too much learning? No. Now, let's look at it this way. First, I say you record yourself explaining. Maybe not just yourself, but you find any video on the internet and ask them to watch. Then they make notes. You instruct them clearly to make notes, and then prepare questions where they are not clear with. And when they now come to class, I say it's question time and practice. So all the questions they have that they didn't understand, it's time to answer them instead of going over explaining. Or should it be that I should be explaining and students should be interrupting and asking questions? And if the students have watched the video, is there a guarantee that they have completely learned that? How about reinforcement? Did you read about something about reinforcement in your psychology, education psychology class? Is it not possible to reinforce the learning that has taken place with class experience? I'll tell you one thing. One thing that teachers are afraid of, always been afraid of, is the loss of authority. Loss of authority. Think carefully, examine yourself very well. One fear that you have most of all between you and students is the loss of authority over the student. That you say, if these children, if they are allowed, they will become something else. If you're not there, you are afraid that they will not recognize you as being the authority figure, the one that knows everything. So you want them to know at all times that you are the reservoir of knowledge. So you do every thing possible to wait until they come in contact with you before they will drink from that reservoir of knowledge. And that is where you are afraid that if you watch that video beforehand, you would have lost your
You see why the and I think the same thing. So many of the teachers or maybe students or I don't know, they are finding it difficult also to go for that program because they want to have encounter with the lecturer. And now the lecturer has they have prepared put heads together and we have modules and all those things and sent it for them to do. And you ask them, why don't you put in for Open University? But the lecturer does not come.
very good. That is the difference with flipped classroom. In a flipped classroom, there must be contact with the teacher. But part of the work is done before the contact with the teacher. Flipped classroom is a situation where the traditional lecture and explanation that we do is done outside of class by the student reading, watching, listening, and then class time is used for active hands-on learning. The difference here in the case of the open distance learning is that the teacher makes contact with the learner at a distance, either synchronously or asynchronously. Big words, isn't it? Synchronously means the teacher is at a distance making contact with the student in real time, like using Zoom, okay? Or any video conferencing tool, platform. Or asynchronously means not really being there at that time, but communicating with the students. Like all those materials you read from Open University. At the end of the day, Open University organizes online, yes. Okay? It's not the same thing here. What we are saying here is that, first, the reading and watching and listening and all is done outside the class. This prepares the students for class time, which is used for practicals and discussion. Does it make sense to you? Let me give you an example. I'm going to use an actual lesson plan for a flipped class. I don't know. How many of you said you were teaching biology? Let me see your hand. Biology people. Nobody? Yeah, one person. Chemistry? Social studies? Chemistry. Agri? Very good. So, the agri people, I will show you the lesson I'm going to show. It's a biology lesson. But you will, or let me do it this way. I will show you a biology lesson. Then we will together try to see how we can modify it for your own son. Okay? Now, I prepared this lesson for, if you go to your platform, that's your Google Classroom, open it, go to classwork, scroll down, you will see workshop material, and you will see sample classroom lesson plan. I hope this one is for valid. Yes. Sample lesson plan, sample flip lesson plan. Have you seen it? Click on it, open it. I will display it on the board actually, but you can read it from your. Because many of you cannot see it from there, that's why I want you to watch it on your phone. Can we make it clear, larger? Oh, right. But if you have it on the phone, this is why, you see why this, letting you have access to it is good. Now, in that lesson plan, a biology teacher, for example, wants to teach a topic on photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. I don't know how often that is. On that class. No. The one you have opened is the slide I'm showing. Close it. You want to teach photosynthesis in biology. Usually, from my experience, that class has practical and theory. That's lab work and theory class, which is usually 80 minutes, right? And many teachers, how do they teach? Who is the biology teacher? How do you teach photosynthesis? Biology, you say. How do you do it? How do you teach? Speak so that others will hear you.
My own use photosynthesis. Firstly, if I done with the theory, so then I will go with the practical.
In the same class now,
Yes.
you will teach theory.
No. After like
I use another lesson.
Yes.
Theory.
Yes, for the practical. After I have done with the theory, then followed by the practical. So like during the practical hard. I used to take them to, like, outside. Like, sometimes we used to get like seed of maize, like to plant it.
Yeah.
After we plant it, one inside room and another one outside.
Inside the room and one outside.
Yes, sir.
Good.
So the one inside the room will not get access to sunlight, so that photosynthesis will not occur. The process of photosynthesis will not occur. Then,
Yeah, I said good.
yes, the one that we plant outside will undergo photosynthesis. Through that, even through physical exam, you can identify this one undergo photosynthesis while this one didn't undergo photosynthesis.
So the test to know whether they understand the photosynthesis.
Yes, I will be asking them questions. Like, sometimes we used to get a room, whereas we can control the sunlight.
Yeah.
Well, if we place the plant near the sunlight, where the sunlight penetrates, at least the plant would reflect to the place now. It will bend so that to collect the sunlight, to undergo photosynthesis.
Very good. So thank you very much. I like that. That's the way we traditionally teach. Now, suppose that time, those 40 minutes that you used to teach children, you give them a video to watch of how plants grow, the effect of oxygen and carbon dioxide and moisture as water on plant growth. You also showed them a chapter in the biology textbook to go and read. And to ensure that they watch the video, because there's no guarantee that they will watch the video. There's also a guarantee that they will read the material. To enforce them to read and watch, you give a quiz for them to complete after they have watched the video. Questions from the video and questions from the text. That is homework. They do it at home. Experimenting with photosynthesis is not something of 40 or 80 minutes. Is it? It's a matter of days. Right? So, we call that pre-class activity. There are even software that simulate the growth of plants where they can add moisture, reduce moisture, add carbon, reduce carbon to see how it works. Then when they come to class like we usually do, ask them to plant something. During class time, they spend their time documenting their observations about the plants. Color, height, number of leaves. Is that not what you measure? Good. So today, the 40 minutes in a class of 60 students per class. Somebody is already shaking her head. Yeah, because that is the kind of thing we face in our secondary school. Instead of you, a teacher, standing here, can you see a change color? Yes, it has changed color now since yesterday. Each student has their plant, and they spend the 40 minutes of the class to document their observations and ask questions that you will explain. The other 80 minutes, the other 40 minutes, they use it to discuss among themselves the differences that they have observed and reach agreement and write notes. The next lesson, you also ask them to take notes, make observations, and write. So the time that you have spent explaining something to them, they would have used that time finding out for themselves. How would that work? How would that sound? One, to me, the student will feel involved. They feel they are the ones creating the knowledge. And the knowledge will remain permanent with them. Three, they will be able to apply that knowledge elsewhere because they really did it themselves. Not like our chemistry teacher in those days, when I was in secondary school, teaching us acids and bases. We will mix something and see, can you see it has turned milky now? It has really turned milky, and meanwhile we'll be seeing water. I will be afraid to tell her that what we are seeing is water. And we'll be doing like Professor Modo said, we say, yes, ma'am. Till tomorrow, I'll just say that naked thing and the chapel was shown us. That is the kind of magic, abracadabra, that we are forced to do if we have to teach the theory and do the practical with limited resources. How does it sound? That is the idea of a flipped classroom. So here, in this class of photosynthesis, you are giving the student pre-class work, video watching, materials to read, and to ensure that they read and get some understanding, give them some quiz. And when they have difficulty and come to class, we are now using that to explain. And one way of them simulating how plants grow under varying conditions of oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water, we use apps. There's an app called PHET Interactive Simulation. You can download it from your Play Store or on your listing. Because almost all of them, their parents have smartphones. And what they do with the smartphones is to what? Do Facebook and WhatsApp. So can't we engage them instead of doing Facebook? Now use this thing to simulate how plants grow under varying conditions. Would that not be more interesting? And when they come to class, instead of stressing ourselves with the limited money that we have not eaten, to also talk and do practical, we will concentrate not on doing the practical for them, but them doing the practical under our guidance. How does that sound? It sounds fine.
Excellent.
But when I hear excellent, I hear that there is a bit. So can we discuss that? What will be the challenges? What do you think will be the challenges of applying this approach? In agric science, for instance. Material, time frame, and what else? Electricity supply. Electricity supply. Does it have something to do with electricity supply? Huh? Power. Does this have something to do with power? Is it possible for your students to go around the village? So you give them an assignment to go around the village and look at small trees that are growing, those that are not doing well and those that are doing well, and try to document the factors they think are responsible for those trees that are doing well and those that are not doing well. Is it possible? Yes. And when they come to class, what do? We discuss. Every student will give their experience and we share it. That is the idea of the flip. You know, like you flip. Okay? You turn this way, you turn that way. So we are off the class, we are still learning. In class, we are still learning. Okay? How many of you think you will try this out when you leave this place? What is the name of the app? It's there. Open it. It's there. I'll give you. Log into the classroom, you will see it. Everything I'm saying is here. If you have the courage to try this when you leave here, put up your hand, let me see.
But the problem is that it's not applicable to all subjects. It's only limited to some subjects, practical subjects, more of practical subjects.
Suppose you are teaching government, for instance. Suppose you are teaching government, for instance. Who teaches government in this class? Or any of the arts? Social science. Anybody you? Huh?
Government.
Government. Good. Government. How will you apply this in government? In teaching government? This split classroom, where you give students work to do outside the class and then you come to class, it's discussion and something. Can you apply? How do you think you can apply it in government?
Sometimes you come to the class, maybe based on a particular topic you are teaching, if it has to do with the government and the economy of the country, I would like tell the student that, okay, you go home today, before our next class, try find out your environment, even ask your parents what is the economy of the country all about. And then if you can have any idea, when you come to class now, we will use that same topic and then have it as a discussion where everybody will have one or two input on it.
How about asking them to listen to the news?
They can also
And
listen.
document news.
Yes.
News of government activities for the whole week.
Yeah.
And then you come to the class and dispute that news, government policy. And then the implication of those policies on. Is it possible?
Yes.
It's possible. So, there's going to be a general election in the Edo State. I want you to listen and document every day of the election activities in the Edo State. On social day when we are having a government class, discuss the implications of the election in Edo State on the general election in Nigeria, or the electoral process. How about that? So they have learned part of it out of class by monitoring, listening to news. They will even go ahead and discuss it with their parents and friends, because it's required that they will discuss in class. So the day they come to class, organize a debate. Do a debate. Is it possible to use 40 minutes to do a debate in class? Huh? Those for and those against. Divide the class into two. Let's debate the elections in Edo State, how credible it was. Will the student learn from there? Is this a science subject?
No.
Will they work in non-science subject?
Yes.
You wanted to ask a question? This one is something all of you think about, project-based learning. How many of you have tried project-based learning before?